Hey folks, Gary here. Happy Thursday morning to you. I hope you have a really good start to your day. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good day. It might rain today because they keep saying that, but right now it looks not too bad out there. Just looking out the garage window and it looks pretty okay. Hey, we've been talking about prayer. If you've been following these videos at all, you know we've been talking about prayer for quite some time now. And every now and then we go back into Matthew 6, into the Lord's Prayer. And we have done that for this week, and especially verse 13. And verse 13 that says, and you probably know it, Lord, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And we go, wow, well, would God do that? Would God lead me into temptation? Well, no, God doesn't lead you into temptation, but God will test you. So the word temptation is the same word as test and the same word as trial, and God will test us. It's not for his benefit that he does that. It's for our benefit. And why do I say that? Because you don't know what you don't know, right? And testing tells you what you don't know, and you're unaware of that. That's a blind spot. You don't know there's a weakness there, and the only way you're going to know about that is if that's tested, if that weakness is tested. And if it's tested, then you can do something about that. And so we have an example of that. It's found in Luke chapter 22. And you probably know this story, but it's Luke chapter 22, looking at verses 31 down to 34. And let me just read it. It says this: Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift each of you like wheat. Well, isn't that a nice thing to be told, right? The devil has decided he's going to sift you like wheat. Wow. I wouldn't want that kind of prophecy over me. But here's the thing. Here's the good part. But I have pleaded in prayer for you. Jesus is praying for Simon. He's praying for the other disciples. Jesus prays for you. He actually intercedes for you all the time. That's pretty cool because God answers his prayers for sure, right? So pleads for you. So I pleaded in prayer for you, Simon, that your faith should not fail. So when you have repented and turned to me again, strengthen your brothers. Boy, there's a real key verse in that. There's that what Jesus just said right there. But we'll continue on. Peter said, Lord, I am ready to go to prison with you and even to die with you. That's a pretty bold statement, right? I am ready to go to prison for you. I'm ready to fight for you. I'm ready to fight to the death for you, Jesus. You are so important to me. I will put everything on the line for you. And here's the thing. Peter's just not saying that to be poetic or to be romantic or anything like that. He really means it. He really, truly means that he will do that. Matter of fact, we know that when Jesus is betrayed in the garden, when the gospel talks about how he pulls out a sword, no, it's just a small sword, but he pulls out a sword and he attacks. He goes on the attack to defend Jesus. And of course, Jesus says, what are you doing? Peter, they're going to kill you. Knock it off. And rebukes Peter and tells him to put that away, and actually goes and heals the guy that was attacking him, which is a great act of mercy. And so he takes care of it. But that doesn't sound like a weakling, right? It doesn't sound like someone who's cowardly. Peter showed a lot of bravery in that. But it continues on. But Jesus said to Peter, let me tell you something. Now, whenever God says to you, let me tell you something. Actually, when anyone says, let me tell you something, you know it's not good news that's coming, right? Let me tell you something. Before the rooster crows tomorrow morning, you will have denied me 3 times. You will deny that you ever knew me. That's harsh. All of us make bold predictions about what we're going to do. All of us say, Lord, I will do this for you. I will do that for you. I'll do this other thing for you. And that's our act of worship. When we do things for God, we say, man, I pledge my life to you, Lord. I give you my life. And that's a great act of worship. But sometimes we can't follow through with it because it's just too hard. It scares us too much or whatever it might be. And we know that when Jesus actually was arrested and after he rebuked Peter, they all ran away. They just couldn't do it. They were tested. Their faith was tested. Their bravery was tested. Their commitment was tested. All those things were tested. They were being sifted like wheat. But Jesus prayed for them, right? He prayed that their faith ultimately wouldn't fail, that they would come back to him, and they did. We know that Peter came back to Jesus. We know that Peter repented. We know that Peter was restored back. He was restored back to a better place where he became the leader of the church, and he strengthened his brothers. Like going back to that verse that I said earlier, right? That your faith should not fail. So when you have repented and turned to me again, strengthen your brothers. You're going to be strengthening your brothers. Why? Because you've gone through this trial. You've gone through this test. You've found that weakness. And now you've been made stronger in that. Now you can stand. Does Peter blow it later on? Yeah, we know. We read through the Gospels and through the epistles, and we see where, some things happen here and there. But he wasn't the same man anymore because he had gone through that trial, gone through that test. The weakness was found, and he was strengthened in that area. So don't fear the tests. Matter of fact, embrace the test because you don't know what you don't know. But once you know what it is, you can ask God to move in that area of your life. So have an awesome Thursday. We'll catch you tomorrow.